Hey, this is the Internet Rogue here. I just want to talk about something that I have noticed recently. Uh, just a preface, I'm pretty deep into like internet media, like TV shows, music, whatever. I consume as much as I can that people recommend because I want to have an opinion, and you know, that's how I found most of my favorite stuff. It's not like it magically appeared into my mind. Like, no, someone on the internet probably referred me to it. So, point is, what I wanted to talk about was episodic storytelling. Now, this has been a problem for a while. Uh, it's kind of inevitable. I mean, when you're releasing TV shows in like an episodic format, but I think it's gotten much worse recently. It's been used as like engagement bait almost, which whenever something's used as engagement bait, it kind of becomes like the mainstream way to talk about X on the internet. Because engagement bait is like the most popular thing you see on the internet because that's the point. If you're like use social media at all and follow like any sort of TV show community or anything. So, it started with a Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I'm pretty sure. Although it's always been a thing, but I noticed it start there because it had like that 10 out of 10 episode, and it had a 10 out of 10 episode, amazing episode. And then Breaking Bad fans, allegedly, I don't know if this is factual, but what I've heard is they downvoted it to like a 9.9 or whatever, which unfortunately sounds true. It sounds like something that would happen. So in response, kind of deservingly, unfortunately for the fan base or for the show, but for the fan base deserved, it was the like 10 out of 10 Breaking Bad episode that was up there for like years was brought down to like 9.9. So now there's no 10 out of 10 episode. But within that time, I've followed many different TV shows, and it's so weird. Online discourse has moved to like such episodic thinking. Like, it's like a season can't be a masterpiece or anything unless like every single episode is just a heater, which I think is insanely unfair. I don't think every story needs every episode to be phenomenal. And that sounds weird, but like, I feel like in your attempt to make that true, you could be hurting the overall story. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if Pluribus, if y'all have watched that, it's a more slow burn, boring show. I really liked it. But imagine if that one had like a crazy thing happening every episode. It just wouldn't make any sense. It's a realistic show. Like, realistic as far as you can get in that situation with like a hive mind. But like it just wouldn't make any sense. It's a slow show. It just same with like any show that you'd say is semi-realistic. In a story you need time. You need moments to explore and think about other things that can maybe build up to some of the bigger moments that like stick with you the most. And I feel like with this whole focus on how like on rating a single episode or uh yeah, I mean just rating a single episode and comparing other ones or whatever, it's like what the fuck? Like we're thinking about the whole story here. I don't know why a single episode needs to be important to you. Obviously, if there's something that stuck out to you as like terrible, then sure, like maybe that episode was a stinker. But I just don't think that most great shows or even good shows are like that. Like unless some really dumb shit happens and it's poorly made episode. But even then, if the story is strong, that one episode didn't really matter. Okay, I've kind of repeated myself a lot here. So I want to get to like my personal example of what made me kind of want to make this video is ReZero. So ReZero is an anime. Phenomenal anime. It's a great anime. Probably my second favorite one. But it got a 10 out of 10 episode, which is on IMDb, which I think is the only time that's happened for an anime. And it's mostly just a ton of cult fans rating it 10 out of 10. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's true. Does it deserve a 10 out of 10? Yes, I think so. I do think so. And I'm not even like a super fan, but I do think it was possibly the best episode of the series. However, I've seen a lot of people complaining about, like, how, oh, well, the first, like, 15 minutes of the episode, and it's like a 25-minute episode, was, like, not too exciting. Like, there wasn't that much happening. Well, actually, there was a shit ton of stuff happening, but there wasn't anything, like, mind-blowing or masterpiece related. Like, it was just events. And then the last, like, 10 minutes of the episode was, like, the phenomenal climax of the season so far type of deal. So, basically people are arguing, well, this episode overall was actually not as good as some of the other ones. And the thing is, I disagree with both sides. I don't think that you could say, oh, this episode's so much better than these other ones. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Or, oh, this episode is actually terrible compared to some of these other episodes. And it's like, what are we talking about here? Like, add the climax of the story, of, like, the season in it, that built up over the season and over the course of the entire show. And that isn't me arguing that, like, it should be a 10 out of 10 for that reason. I just don't think it fucking matters, honestly. Because you're there, like, that episode wouldn't have hit the height it did at the end without the entire rest of the show. Like, there's more entertaining episodes, maybe, but, like, who cares? Like, those episodes are just chunks of the same story. Like, it's all the same. So I just don't get why we have to, like, break the ratings up. And I would talk about this more in a different video. I probably will, because it's another topic that I am passionate about. Very passionate about. But that's why I keep saying it's fucking, like, engagement bait. And if you don't know what engagement bait is, I call it more like controversy bait. I don't know. But it's basically just posting something that's, like, more controversial or you know is going to cause controversy for engagement. And posting episode ratings, it's not malicious in itself, but the reason it's really popular to post that is because people argue. And that is the thing about engagement bait you have to keep in mind, is it's not necessarily malicious. It's just the person posting it, if they own a big account, they know what the result's going to be. Like, and you always have plausible deniability, but they knew it. And the problem with engagement bait is that when shit like that becomes big, well, it's the most popular thing that you're gonna see in that sort of, like, niche of whatever niche you're getting content of. Because it's engagement bait. Like, engagement drives it to the top so that you engage with it. So that's why I kind of think that it's like a feedback loop in some way. And I'm just worried about it. I don't want any shows to suffer because their story is built in a way that maybe isn't very episode friendly. Like, you know, because no matter what show you have, you're forced to work around the episodic format, which I think is a massive handicap to stories. Do I know if there's a better way to do it? I don't know. One example I will give of, like, the opposite of ReZero, or just the opposite of everything we've talked about, is One Piece, the live action. It's one of the few shows now. I think maybe Stranger Things did too. I don't know. Actually, no, it didn't. No, it's just the One Piece live action. It dropped all of its episodes at once. And, you know what's super funny about the One Piece live action? I was very invested in it, because I love One Piece, but, like, I saw way less episode complaints. I mean, there were some saying I liked this part more than the other. I saw that come up a lot more. But I specifically noticed that there's so much less episode talk because you just binged the entire thing. Like, there wasn't, like, you consumed it as, like, a unit, which is how the story should be consumed. And I think that's a great point to what, like, I think that's a great support for my point. And I know it's anecdotal, whatever, it's just something I noticed. But I do think it's true. And yeah, you just see my point. It's just like, then that story is being rated as a whole thing, which is, in my opinion, much more desirable than rating it by episode, because the story is meant to be a whole thing. It's a fucking story. But that's pretty much the entire rant. So that's it. Yeah.